Are you looking to learn how to start a successful trucking company? I know you can go anywhere in the world. There's 1,000 YouTube videos. You can do all this Google, do all the Google searches and all that kind of stuff, which is great. However, to start a successful trucking company, there is a certain blueprint and certain steps that you have to take. And in this video, you're going to learn the exact steps that you need to take to start your trucking company on the right foot. For a lot of drivers that I talk to, a lot of owners that I talk to, they said, you know what, I wish I would have just went on ahead and started it because I had a lot of fears. I had a lot of anxieties about, what I should do and how much this and do. So they played it safe by staying as an owner operator, leased onto a company and making peanuts, or leased onto a company, became a lease purchase owner operator making peanuts. When in reality, you're doing the same thing and you're earning less for the same thing that you're doing. It may take a little bit more, and you're going to learn in this video what it takes to succeed in trucking. Now, trucking is a very stable industry. For the most part, it's growing at a rate of 3 to 5% per year. And in 2026, it's projected to be at $2 trillion globally. Now, that's a lot of change. That's a lot of change and a lot of chatter. However, you can't do that by not playing the game. You got to get in the game if you want to win. And in this video, you're about to learn that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we drop information about the trucking industry and how to win in the trucking business. Now, you got to take advantage. You got to take advantage of the opportunity that's out there. So the first thing that most people don't do when they start a trucking company, and this really determines your success or failure, for the most part, you have a better chance of succeeding if you have a solid business plan, right? So step one is to have a business plan. And most people skip over this and go right out and start buying equipment, getting insurance and all that stuff. But a basic business plan will help you secure financing and create a direction for your company to flow. It makes the difference because it gives you direction. And it has 9 key elements, especially when you start looking for funding and financing to scale and grow your business even faster. And here are the key elements to a successful, solid business plan. It's the executive summary, and it gives an overview of what your business is about, what you do, who you are, and where you're headed. And as you'll see, in these different sections, they're not hard to create because you're really technically doing that already by just doing the research. All you're doing is just writing it down and putting it on paper so that you can give to other people that are interested or might be interested in investing in your business, because they want to make money too, but they want to see if your plan and if you're executing that plan and if it's actually profitable. Now, the company overview section gives more detailed descriptions regarding like exactly what your business does and how it's structured. The market analysis section of your business plan provides in-depth information about the industry that you're in, your specific market, and the competition. Organization and management section, it describes how your business will be organized, structured, and the key roles. For instance, you need you need somebody in sales, more than likely, somebody in recruiting, safety, maybe definitely accounting, paperwork, accounts payable, accounts receivable, as you move and grow in your business. Products and services, if you're planning on, for us, it's going to be services, right? Obviously, so we just talk about the type of service that we provide to the customers. That's refrigerated, if you're in refrigerated produce, dry van, step deck, flatbed. What type of service do you provide to the customer? And if you specify in a more specific, then you can even get down to the type of things that you want to more so transport. Then you got marketing and sales. That's how you're going to get your information out to your customers. Are you going to use the phone? Are you going to use flyers? Are you going to go door to door? How are you going to get customers is another part. You're going to use load board. There's a lot of different ways, and you're just mapping out how you plan on getting your services out there, how you plan on getting customers. The next thing is your financial projections. This gives a clear picture of your current situation, your current financial situation, and where you're also wanting to go within the financial aspect of your company. And then the funding request section, that tells the investor or potential investors how much you're looking to acquire in order to get this done for executing this plan, right? So, and the appendix just is documents that support the information that you're already creating. So you're going to have pictures maybe of the type of trailer, the type of truck, the flyers that you have. So the appendix just provides the ability for them to see exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, and just backs up and substantiates what you say all the other sections that you've created in the business plan. So step number one, you have to have a solid business plan. It helps your business grow tremendously fast, especially when you need it, because at a certain point, there's only so much work you can do, so much you can do, and you're going to need an influx of cash or influx of funding in order to grow it even bigger and faster, so that you can hire the key people, so you're not just stuck doing all of this stuff by yourself. Next thing you're going to need is to incorporate. Now this this is a part of the business planning stage. You got to know how you want to incorporate it, because it depending on the structure and how you want to build your business is going to determine which structure works best. So there's 5 basic structures. There's obviously subsets of these 5, but the sole proprietorship, partnerships, corporations, S corps, and limited liability companies, aka LLCs. And depending on which one fits best for your long-term plan, you would need to get some advice about that, maybe an accountant or an attorney that'll let you know, hey, this is the best structure, or this is the best combo structure that you'll need. Maybe you want to, protect the equipment by owning a corporation that protects the equipment, and it subleases it out to your LLC, and your LLC is the business aspect, but your company actually owns the equipment, but your actual company, the trucking company, is the LLC, and it pays the drivers, and it pays the corporation for the leasing of that. So that's just one example of how you can structure it. And talking to an attorney will get you attorney, or definitely an accountant will let you know the best ways to get to structure it for tax purposes and also for legal protective purposes as well. Now, after you decide which structure works best, you or your accountant or your attorney will file for your articles of incorporation. And once you get your articles of incorporation, then you go to the IRS.gov website to go ahead and file for to apply for your EIN or FEIN or tax ID number. And those things will help you obviously set up your company and set up your accounts and all that kind of stuff. So those are important for tax purposes, but it should cost you around $100 if you do it yourself. If you pay an attorney or an accountant, it's going to be $500 plus. So just keep that in mind when you're going to incorporate your business. The next thing you're going to need is permits, right? You're going to have to get your DOT authority. You're going to have to get your UCR. You're going to have to get your drug consortium, your 2290, IRP, IFTA, BOC3. And total cost for permits is going to be around $2,300, $2,400, depending on when you file and what you have to file for. But generally speaking, you're gonna spend about $2,400 for it. But don't worry, if you want more, I have a checklist on sixfiguretrucking.com that walks you through all of this. But just to kind of have an idea, you're gonna spend about $2,400 on this. So next thing is you're gonna have to figure out what type of equipment that you're going to use. Again, this is already done in the planning phase, but now we got to purchase some equipment. So have we decided that we're gonna go with used or new? There's pros and cons for both. The pros for a newer truck is less maintenance, they consume less fuel. Generally speaking, you have a pretty decent warranty, especially if it's brand new, up to like 400,000, 500,000 miles. If you're planning on, of course, growing, you're gonna have drivers that want more of a newer truck. They're gonna want newer trucks. The cons is, for a new truck, is it costs more to fix. You got higher truck notes, higher down payment, higher insurance, higher cab card, and higher taxes. On the other hand, for a used truck, you got lower down payments, you got lower monthly payments. Warranty is typically less to work on. The parts cost a little bit less than brand new trucks, and your cab card is a little bit cheaper. Like I said, it's going to be around $1,400 to $2,000. You'll probably end up around that $1,400 to $1,600 range for a truck that is a little bit older, maybe like 3-4 years older. It's going to cost you more maintenance, though. The other side of this is it's going to cost you more to maintain it, because you're more likely to break down because of the age and because of the use of the vehicles. You're typically given like a 30-day warranty, and you're likely to have more breakdowns, right? More issues with trucks, because you just never know. And they typically burn a little bit more fuel than newer trucks, because newer trucks are new, of course. But the total cost can be anywhere from zero. You can find, if you got really good credit, if you got good credit, you won't have to put anything down, but your payments will be higher, right? Or you can put something down. You can go and buy it outright. You can buy a truck for $50,000. You can buy a truck for $10,000. A good truck. I bought great trucks for under $10,000, right? So it just depends on what you know, how you look, and just kind of what your game plan is for building your trucking company. But all of this can be done with no problem. Again, I have a whole checklist on all of the stuff that you need to do at sigfiguretrucking.com. But these are just the basics that you're going to need in order to start your trucking company off the right way in order to succeed in this business. The next thing you're going to need is insurance, right? So you're going to need to shop around and look for the right insurance for your company. Now, there's plenty of options when it comes to insurance, and you got to consider additions to the insurance as well, like tow packages and all this extra stuff that you may need and you may not need. You just got to determine that for yourself. And, you know, the different type, depending on what you want to haul, is what you're going to have to also take into consideration. Like if you're going to haul hazardous materials, your insurance is going to be a lot higher than someone who's just hauling general freight. So you got to take that into consideration. And different insurance companies offer different things. They specialize in certain things. There's certain companies who will not offer, let's say for refrigerated trailers, pork, right? They don't cover pork, or they don't cover shellfish, or they don't cover all these little things that you need to make sure of. This is why the planning phase is so important, because it gives you the opportunity to know what to ask for when you're, you know, calling about insurance and seeing which one works best for you, right? But the basics you're going to need for insurance is $750,000. Just generally speaking, that's auto liability. $750,000 is the minimum basic requirement for auto liability, and then physical damage and cargo, $100,000. And I always say go for $1 million, because most brokers, most shippers are going to want to see $1 million in liability, right? Some are going to want to see more, depending again on what you haul. But the minimum I've seen typically is $1 million is what they typically want to look for. They will typically look for in auto liability. But just shop around, shop out of state as well. Don't just be confined to your state, because there are other states that do cover your state. Like for instance, I live in Georgia. I got my insurance through a company out of Indiana, and it was a lot cheaper. It was about $4,000 or $5,000 cheaper per year going out of state. So don't be afraid to look out of your state and call around to other states, call around to other carriers outside of your demographic to see if maybe they have better plans, better rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The next thing is the down payment for insurance can be anywhere from $2,000 to, maybe if you want to pay it off for a year, for the year, it could be up to $20,000, $25,000. I've seen it up to $60,000 if you go with Progressive. So again, shop around, because different companies are going to offer you different things and have different, they're going to have different incentives for you to join with them. And so definitely shop around, but I would say expect to pay around $3,000 down for the course of the year. Your insurance payment should be anywhere from $700 to maybe $1,500 a month, generally speaking. That's what I would try to get it down to, and that's comfortable for me. Next thing you're going to need is a system for managing your business, right? Because trucking is one of those industries that has a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff. You got accounts payable, accounts receivable, you got bills of lading, you got logs, you got all this stuff that's coming in constantly and that you have to keep track of. If you don't have a decent system in place, then you'll find yourself getting overwhelmed, and you won't end up doing all the things that are necessary to keep your business afloat. That's how many drivers get messed up, is they don't know how to keep their business in float. Because they have so much stuff to manage. So you need a software to manage all of the stuff you got going on. You also need to set up, as part of your business management system, is you need to manage a separate business account. Don't use your personal account to fund your business, and vice versa. Have them as separate, two completely different things. You pay yourself a salary every week or every month, or however you want to pay yourself. But don't use your business account like it's your personal account, right? And it makes it a whole lot easier, and it keeps things separate and keeps you organized. You're going to need forms. You're going to need apps for yourself or for your drivers. If you're hiring drivers and you want them to scan things in, or you want to be able to pick up on where they are, you're going to need different apps. You're going to need a bookkeeping system. You're going to need a filing system to file all of your paperwork in and keep it organized. Again, if you're doing accounts receivable yourself, which we were about to talk about, then you're going to definitely need a system in place to track your payments and when they come in and when they're expected to come in. You need to be able to track payroll and taxes, right? So if you're hiring drivers, you have to pay them. You have to pay payroll if you have a company. of drivers. If you are 1099 them, you're still going to need a way to keep track so that at the end of the year, you'll be able to send them their forms and their information on how they can file their taxes. Also, you're going to need to have a system in place for scheduled maintenance, right? Because your trucks are going to need scheduled maintenance at least every other month or every 15,000 miles, or you're going to need to make sure that you have a system in place for how often you get your trucks serviced, because that is the key as well to knowing what you need to replace, what needs to happen at a certain time in order to grow or either to retire a vehicle and time to bring in another one. These are so important. You can get started with this. Typically, most of this stuff is going to be like a 30-day free trial, and then you pay, you know, a software management system. After that, they have a lot of different things, but the bookkeeping aspect is what's probably going to cost you up front, maybe $150, $200, $100 to $200, I would say, for bookkeeping, right? Because you're going to want to have someone that you can send the receipts off to and give you a profit and loss statement. Your profit and loss statement is so important, especially if you're looking for financing. If you're looking for financing, they're going to want to see a profit and loss statement. How is your profit and loss for the last year? How's your profit and loss for the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? And so keeping track of that is going to be important. And a bookkeeper, I found, is the easiest way to do that. They can give it to you quarterly. They can give it to you weekly. They can give it to you monthly, however you want it done. Just finding find one that can actually handle that for you. So you're going to need a software, a management system. You're going to need to be able to manage your business in order for it to grow properly. Next thing you're going to need is you need to figure out how you're going to get paid. How are you going to get paid? Are you going to use factoring? Are you going to use brokers? Are you going to go to a customer? Are you going to in-house your accounts payable and accounts receivable? Do you want to use a bank to do that for you? Because some banks do offer factoring. Some banks will hold a note for you until they get paid. And they may even actually charge you less than most factoring companies. They may charge you only 1% because it's guaranteed money. And so you got to figure this out, which way you want to do it. Again, I have a checklist on sixfiguretrucking.com that you can download that'll keep you on track if you are planning on starting your trucking company in the next few months, right? If you're planning on starting in the next few months, definitely download that checklist. But either way, you're gonna need to factor this into your management system on how you're planning on getting paid, because obviously you need cash flow to succeed in trucking. So how are you going to get paid is something that you have to consider, and that will be the next step after that. The next thing you want to do is set up your truck. You have the outside of your truck, which needs the decals, the IFTAs, your logo, and just markers that tell them that you're a legit company. So you need your numbers on the side of your vehicle. On the inside of your truck, you're going to need your ELD. If you have a 2000 or newer truck, you're going to need to have an ELD system in. If your truck is 99 or older, you do not need an ELD. You're going to need an inspection on your truck and trailer inside of your cab. And usually, like for me, I always keep like a book for, you know, if you've been in trucking, you know these books, every truck pretty much got these books, right? But one thing I do for myself and my drivers is I would put their license, their driver's license, their medical card inside of that book. So boom, all they got to do is hand the officer, if they're getting a DOT inspection, just the whole book. Everything is already inside of there for myself. You know, I did it for myself, obviously, and for the drivers. Boom. All they got to do is just hand that to the DOT officer. They got everything they need. You're going to also need triangles or flares, chains if you're going to run out west, a fire extinguisher, loose logs. You got to have the logs. Safety regulations handbook, and an accident kit. You got to have these basic things inside of your truck, and you got to have a good driver. You got to have a good driver inside of your truck in order to scale your business. And you're going to also obviously need a DOT inspection and a trailer DOT inspection. So again, like these are important things, basic things that if you've been in this industry, you know this stuff like the back of your hand. Just don't forget it, because you're going to obviously need it inside of your truck. Next thing you're going to need is to start running freight. It's that time now. Every broker is not going to deal with you. So you need to do this in the research phase. Figure out which brokers are going to deal with you in the early stage, which shippers might deal with you at the earlier stage. And then you can start planning the loads and planning the areas that you can run into. I have another video about, you know, choosing loads and finding hot loads that you can watch and check out. But this is the beginning of succeeding in trucking, right? These are the basic foundational principles for succeeding in trucking. And once you get your footing in the trucking industry, you can start buying more trucks, trailers, and hiring the people that you put in your plan, using the same process and just growing your business, just implementing the things that you said you were going to do, that you planned out that you were going to do. And of course, you know, like any plan, they change. So as they change, you can make updates to your business plan. It's not a set in stone thing. It's designed to grow with you and not to be something that just stays there and you have to do it that way. But as more avenues open up, or maybe you realize something that you didn't realize before, you can actually adjust your plan just to show that, you know, just to keep yourself on track. And anybody else that wants to become a part of what you're doing, it gives them the opportunity to see that you are a person who is actually focused on building this and not just some run-of-the-mill person that just bought a truck. So if you want to succeed, you got to be all in. Right now, if you found this video helpful, definitely subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you. We'd love to hear from you. So leave a comment in the comment section. Definitely like the video, and download the checklist on sixfiguretrucking.com. You can check that out. We have blogs, we have information on there, and what else you would like to hear. If you would like to hear something or talk about, hear me discuss something, definitely leave it in the comment section. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll catch you on the next video. This has been TK Keith at sixfiguretrucking.com. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.